I'm going to play you 2 runs and I want you to tell me which one's faster. Alright, they're both the same speed. But the picked one sounds faster. It sounds more impressive. But that's easier said than done. I mean, how the axle F do we pick as fast as we can hammer on and pull off? Well, here's the secret. Yeah, I'm going to tell them that. Wait till the end. No, some of them are already turning off. Wait, that beardy guy's clicking straight to the end of the clip. No, I'm going to tell you the secret now. Here's the secret. I'm not picking every note. Now, depending on your level of playing ability, you may well have noticed that straight up. I'm picking more notes than the legato kind of example thingy, but I'm not picking all the notes. I'm not picking every note. So the thing is, the great shredders do this stuff intuitively. My heroes like Van Halen, Vi, Paul Gilbert, Nuno, these guys, they don't have to plan this stuff out. They can effortlessly pick runs and scales up and down the neck and across the fingerboard at speeds that you and I will never come close to. But when they improvise, these guns will hammer or pull notes to facilitate their smooth passage across the neck without even giving it a second thought. Now, I don't possess that sort of innate ability, but what I can do is memorise a few patterns to keep in the back pocket in case I want to pretend to be more impressive than I actually am. So let's start off with a couple of Eddie's licks, because he loved those symmetrical hammer-on patterns to move across the neck in triplets, like that one at the end of his solo in Jump, or this one during the intro of I'm the One. Now those are both based on exactly the same pattern, like a semitone and then a tone on each string. Eddie played these with the traditional legato approach of picking the first note on each string and hammering the next two. But what I'm doing is picking the first 2 notes and then hammering the next one. So I'm going down, up, hammer. That hammer gives me a chance to lift my pick across to the next string. So with 2 out of every 3 notes being picked and the extra pick noise that occurs, it sounds like I'm picking every note. And it sounds faster and cooler. Well, hang on, not cooler than Eddie does it, because man, even his hammer-ons are so powerful and precise and got so much swagger, nothing comes close. But me doing that sounds cooler than me doing my wimpy hammer-ons. Now this same sort of thing could also be achieved by picking the first and third notes, hammering on the second. In fact, some people may find that easier because that's like a swing picking pattern. So it feels quite good, but I find that I can't get that one as quick as I can get the... Now just quickly, I love to throw some theory in whenever I can. Those 2 runs of Eddie's are actually the exact same scale. They're the exact same notes in 2 massively different songs from 2 very different points in his career. One's off the debut album and one's off 1984, the final album with David Lee Roth before Sammy Hagar joined. And they're in completely different keys. So in the Jump example, at this point of the song, we're playing over a D flat chord, and Eddie starts on the C note, so he's playing like a D flat major scale. Those first 6 or 7 notes are out of the D flat major scale, but then as he continues the pattern, we get the flat 7 in there, and then on the next string, the flat 9. But then we're back into the scale, and then at the end, as the chord changes from D flat to C, we get that G note that he hangs on, so he resolves to G. So that's a really clever little song, because it's basically D flat major, and then as he slows the run down, he ends up with those couple of accidentals, the flat 7 and the flat 9, and the sharp 11, which make it sound edgy and there's a bit of tension, which resolves beautifully to the C chord back into the parent key. Now in I'm the One, same scale, but this time he's playing it over A flat. The guitar's tuned, the whole song's tuned down a semitone, so he's actually playing in A, but what we're hearing is A flat. So different use of the same scale, same shape. He starts on the major third, the C note, but then as he progresses up that shape, it becomes like just a Dorian minor pattern. The next note is your 4th, your 5th, your 6th, your flat 7, your root note or octave, 2nd, minor 3rd, 4th again, blues note, flat 5, 5th, 6th again. Then he's got a major 7, which is a bit odd, to the 2, to the 1. So it seems really random using that same pattern across the neck. There's not really any out notes there. I mean, we wouldn't normally choose the major 7. We'd choose the flat 7, but works beautifully. Okay, let's move on to Nuno. So this next Nuno run is off a song called Teacher's Pet off their crazy good debut album. Nuno picks every note in this descent. It's not even that fast in his world, but it's way too fast for this fella. I love this run too because he's using the pentatonic scale, but instead of the standard position. Now, I'm sure this was played in A as well on a guitar that was tuned down a semitone. Everybody did it, but I'm just going to talk about it in A flat. So Nuno is adding a chromatic note in between each of the scale tones. Now again, because it's triplets, I find it really hard, almost impossible to pick that at speed, because every second time I've got to lift my hand over the adjacent string because my picking is going in the wrong direction. But if I pick the first 2 notes and pull off the third, smooth sailing. Okay, we've done triplets, ascending and descending. Now let's use a Paul Gilbert lick as an example of a straight 30-second note run. This is from a ridiculously awesome piece of rock guitar called Screamin' Bluesomania that Paul originally released on one of those floppy records that came in a Guitar Player magazine back in the late 80s. Now, Paul Gilbert seems like he could pick at any speed he felt like. I'm pretty sure there is no upper limit. This one's in E and the run goes... So it's a bit of a lengthy one, but it's all just 30-second notes at a blistering pace. I will never get there, but I can get closer if I do a single pull-off as I'm about to change strings each time. So the first run, so I finish on that upstroke, do the pull-off, and that means my pick is already in the right position to start on the next string with an up pick. Now for the ascending part of the run, I'm doing something slightly different. I'm picking the first 2 notes, then using a pull-off and a hammer-on to achieve the next 3 notes. Then picking the next string, then start that pattern over again. So I guess my message here is this. If you're like me and you struggle to alternate pick things at a higher speed, then maybe practice including planned pull-offs or hammer-ons in repetitive patterns, and then those bigger patterns can become shorter licks as you navigate your way through your solos around your fretboard. I hope this helps you in your quest. If it did, please consider subscribing. Give me a like, give me some feedback, make a request. And if you're really keen, head on over to my Patreon where you'll find printable PDF tabs for all my lessons and many, many other lessons there as well. Ciao, mofos.